You know that feeling, right? You've poured weeks, maybe months into a project. You finally step back, you look at what you've made, and you think, this is it. It's perfect. But what if I told you that your greatest strength, how well you know your own work, is actually your biggest weakness? Today, we're diving into that exact problem and how a super simple change in perspective can absolutely save your project.
So let me ask you this. Think about that thing you're working on right now, that new design, that app prototype, that slide deck. You know every little detail, every click, every single word. It all makes perfect sense, but only to you. What does it look like to somebody who's never seen it before?
And that's really the crux of it, isn't it? You can't unknow what you already know. There's actually a name for this. It's called the curse of knowledge. Your brain is so smart that it just fills in the gaps. It skips over the confusing parts because, well, you already have the answers. You've lost that precious ability to see your own work like a beginner. We call this the designer's blind spot. It's that tricky little space where what feels totally obvious and intuitive to you is just plain confusing to a new user. And hey, this isn't just for designers. It's for writers staring at their own words, developers looking at their own code. Anyone who's super close to their own creation has this blind spot.
This right here, this just nails the difference. On the left, that's your world. Everything is clear, everything flows, it just works. But on the right, that's the real world for a new user. It's full of questions and confusion. Where do I go now? What does this even mean? That gap between your view and their view, that's where great projects go to die. Our mission is to close that gap.
So, how do we do that? How do we build a bridge over that gap? Well, the good news is you don't need a huge budget or some fancy focus group. Not for this anyway. The answer is actually incredibly simple, and it's probably sitting just a few feet away from you. Your secret weapon is your peers. We're talking about a quick and dirty process called early usability testing. Just think of it like a friendly checkup for your project. You just grab a coworker, a friend, literally anyone who hasn't seen it before, and you ask them to take it for a test drive. The whole point is to find those hidden problems now before they turn into major disasters later on.
So what are you actually looking for? You're on the hunt for what we call friction points. These are those little moments where a user just stops. They hesitate. You see their mouse wander around the screen. Maybe it's a confusing button or a label that's not clear. Those tiny moments of confusion, that's pure gold. That's the feedback you desperately need.
Okay, but to get this gold, you can't just ask them, so, what do you think? No. You have to adopt a very specific mindset. Your goal isn't to explain your work or defend your choices. Your goal is to become a silent observer, to see your creation through their eyes for the first time.
Your job description is super simple, but I'm telling you, it is so hard to do in practice. You show them the prototype, and then you shut up. That's it. You have to fight every single urge in your body to jump in and say, oh no, just click there, or let me explain that part. It's tough, but your only job is to watch, listen, and write down everything you see.
And this is probably the most important lesson of all. Every single time your tester gets confused or stuck, your first instinct is going to be to think, they just don't get it. You have to rewire your brain. If a user gets lost, it is never their fault. It is a giant flashing neon sign telling you there's a problem with the design. And that's not a failure. That's an opportunity.
Once you really embrace that mindset, something amazing happens. You stop seeing feedback as an attack on your work, and you start seeing it as a treasure map. All those little friction points you found, they become your step-by-step guide to transforming a clunky, confusing prototype into something smooth and effortless. You start moving from friction into flow.
And the transformation is huge. I mean, look at this. Before the test, your prototype is full of friction. You've got confusing parts that only make sense to you, and let's be real, you're probably a little anxious about showing it to anyone. But after you've applied the insights from just one quick test, suddenly your prototype feels intuitive. The design is simpler, it's cleaner. And you feel confident, you feel prepared, you're ready.
So how many people does it take to kickstart this incredible change? 10? 20? Nope, just one. That's it. One single person with a fresh set of eyes is often all it takes to find those game-changing issues that you were totally blind to. How amazing is that? Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Every single confusing button you fix, every unclear label you rewrite, it's all contributing to a much, much smoother journey to success for your users, for your project, and definitely for you.
So, I'm going to leave you with a challenge. That project you're working on right now, yep, that one you're thinking of, the one you think is almost perfect.
Go find one person, ask them for 5 minutes of their time, show them your work, and then just sit back and watch. I promise, you will be blown away by what you discover. So, what hidden flaws are just waiting to be found in your work?